I just arrived in cultural, historic, arts, political and economic landmark of Europe. It's raining a little bit, but I'm extremely excited. Welcome to Vienna, Austria. Vienna is the capital of Austria with approximately 2 million people, Euro as their currency, and German as their official language. It is my first time visiting the city, so I would love to learn as much as possible about it. That is why I am starting my day with a walking city tour. There is so much to learn about history, arts, cuisine, architecture, and economy of this extraordinary city. On the way to the walking tour, I just saw the advertisement of Maria Teresa on this extraordinary church, and what is very special about it is that she was the only female ruler of the Hofburg dynasty, and she had 16 children, and she was absolutely revolutionary. We are starting the tour from visiting the outside of Mozart house. It turns out Mozart used to change his apartments every few months. That was one of them, and he was bankrupt his whole life.
The central cemetery of the city. This is why, if you look on the ground, you will see some stones that look like crosses there. And they closed this cemetery in the 19th century for hygiene reasons. They transferred it then to the southern part of Vienna, and they call it the catacombs. It has turned into a museum. Under the St. Stephen's, this is the exit of the catacombs. What you can find in the catacombs, mainly, you can find skeletons, of course, and 56 silver urns that contain the intestines. And the church, a Romanesque type of church, they started building in 1137, and the Gothic that you see came later in the 13th, 14th and 15th century. So the tower that you see on the left, the southern tower that is higher, you see, and the northern tower on the right were added so that the church would turn into a cathedral and Vienna would become an independent city. Yeah? And these metallic books like this one that you can keep with the St. Stephen's. Yeah? You will find it everywhere in Vienna. So let's show them now to the direction.
Going inside St. Stephen Cathedral.
Yeah.
1511, they finished building it.
And they had excellent stone windows that were worked on the stone by hand. One example is this small pulpit that you see on the left. This is called Redemptorist Priest, and it shows the faces of all local sense of Austria. And 4 different moods that people can have: phlegmatic, pragmatic, mood disorder. Architect of the St. Stephen's made this.
This is an early masterpiece of
And steps behind you can walk up. And they used it to announce important things in the past as well as during the Second World War. Behind you can see the organ. The organ is not the original. The original organ from the 1730s was completely destroyed, and they had to replace it. And after this, because they do all the time maintenance and renovation, they try to keep the organ at a new stance.
It took almost 400 years to finish building St. Stephen Cathedral. 400.
Now you can see shows clearly the difference between the two towers. The northern tower has a big bell, as we mentioned, which they ring only a few times per year. And the other tower, the southern tower, has smaller bells that they ring every day usually. And there you don't have an elevator, there you have 343 steps to go up there. Yeah? Personally, I have never done it, but I had people that were very sporty, they want to climb up. Yeah, and I leave it on you. But even signs like this everywhere.
The area around the cathedral is called Stephen's Place, and it's the very heart of Vienna and must see when you're visiting.
And now we are in the heart of this circle, which means that it's a very easy way to find your way in Vienna. When you reach the ring, in any direction you walk, you will find the ring. So when you go there, it's very easy to come back to the heart of the circle. And this was a boulevard that was arranged by the last emperor.
Graben Street.
But no walls anymore, nothing left. After 2,000 years, quite logical. And here mostly now American companies, like the Five Guys on the right, and other shops. They have already started selling chestnuts, as you see outside.
Selling what?
Chestnuts. In the winter time, usually they sell chestnuts and potato puffs, which are quite hot and they warm you up. Yeah? And here on the left you can see one of the about 100 sausage stands that we have in Vienna. This is the so-called plague column. We are talking about an epidemic, of course. So, at the end of the 17th century, Vienna was suffering from one of the worst plague epidemics. And the emperor at the time was Leopold. Leopold was a Habsburg. Have you heard of a characteristic that the Habsburgs had?
No.
The Habsburgs had an extended chin or jaw because they were always giving members of their own family.
Extended jaw?
Yeah, exactly. Or chin, yeah.
Funny.
We will go now and enter.
St. Peter's Cathedral that has concerts in Vienna.
As a donation.
So beautiful.
So this is a very
And you can watch concerts here. Demel is the oldest cake shop in Vienna. Normally it has lots of lines, but today it's raining and it's cold, so not many people right now.
Would you like to take away your first order?
So here you can see is a mixture of milk, eggs and flour. They put inside extra sugar, butter and raisins with the dipping around. And they serve it with the powdered and they are quite pricey. So one comes for a price. What price is the question? And more prices one over here. If you get stuck.
And this This is the back of the Hofburg Palace in the very center of Vienna. They renovate it every 2 years. That's why everything looks so new. It's gorgeous, and it's in the middle of St. Michael's Plaza or St. Michael's Plaza. And these are the ruins that were found when they did the excavation, the original ruins from the palace. This is one of the richest streets in Vienna, where rich people were buying real estate to live close to the palace. Right now, worth millions of dollars, any piece of real estate here. That's where we have the most famous coffee house, Central, Cafe Central. Herrengasse. We continue on the most expensive street in Vienna with the Central, Cafe Central, the most famous coffee shop. You see the lines here. Palace in its full beauty. And this is University of Vienna, right behind those trees where Sigmund Freud was teaching psychology. It's one of the oldest universities from 13th century. And we are walking on the Ring Street, and we are on the border of the first area in Vienna. And on the last floor of this white building we have a Beethoven Museum. The rest is apartment buildings.
However, the man that you see this floor was coming here every day.
Another famous coffee shop, Cafe Landmann, where a lot of people, famous people come. It's really gorgeous outside. And it was established in 1876. And opposite we have the city hall. Austrian Parliament, built in a Greek style. That's one of the side entrances of the Parliament. And we are entering the garden of the people. Under the Acropolis of Athens. They built this here in 1823, and usually the locals come here to take their wedding pictures. We find it a very romantic location. It is something exotic for them. All around you. And the fourth would be between the two museums. So within a simple walk, we can see 4 Christmas lights. Maria Antoinette was her most famous daughter. Maria Antonia in German, who could not even speak properly German, right? She didn't have good education. So let's go over here. There. Behind it, yeah. Horses in the Hofburg Palace. The cake is quite expensive, illogical if you think of the historical significance of it. And you can keep it up to 2 weeks outside. So it's very easy to take with you there. Any questions about the Zafar? Yeah. Sorry? For the alcohol, you need to ask the ladies directly and ask the cashier. They have the one with the alcohol and the one without also, but the two they are there directly at the cashier. So let's say and this is Albertina Museum with the works of Rembrandt, Picasso, Van Gogh, modern art, and many, many more. Let's see it. Okay, my sister says Kandinsky. It's a very famous painter. And there are some famous pieces here. I like this one. Vienna's pastries are not just food, they are a central part of the city's history, culture, and identity. And this is Conditorei, a pastry shop where the baked goods are the main event. They are more elegant than coffee houses, and visiting one is an essential Viennese experience. We are staying 10 minutes away from the Interstadt, the Vienna city center, in a very, very cute neighborhood close to Pramergasse Street. It's literally 10 minutes by subway to the very center, and this street is just filled up with these beautiful stores and coffee shops. As I mentioned before, Vienna is famous for pastry and coffee. So we just discovered that in that neighborhood, close to where we are staying, where people are eating, in that neighborhood where we are staying, it's plenty of coffee shops that we're checking out right now.
We don't know yet. Pardon, may I take photographs here? Yes, okay. Thank you so much.
And today I am visiting Belvedere Palace, which is one of the main residences of Habsburg dynasty, and it is divided into three pieces of buildings: Lower Belvedere, and Upper Belvedere, and also there are beautiful gardens that you can see right by the entry. The ticket office is right here beside me, and it's like a wonderful pond right here. And we are starting our tour soon. So the gardens in Belvedere Palace are quite boring, but my sister says it's super. So
it is. You can energize yourself and calm down a little bit. So I think it's perfect for me.
when I said that the gardens are boring, she did like this. So you better come here yourself and decide what it is, because as you can see, everyone else has different opinion.
I love it.
And again, my sister says that this is not boring at all. We are in some bamboo forest. I think it's quite boring. It's just like bamboo sticks, nothing in particular, but again, you decide for yourself what it is. The palace was built by Prince Eugene of Savoy, a famed general who saved Vienna from the Ottomans. The palace was completed in 1723, and it took 11 years to build it. And now we arrived at a very beautiful part of Belvedere Gardens, and you can see them right behind me. Lower Belvedere that you can see right here behind me was completed first as the prince's living headquarters, while the more grandiose Upper Belvedere was designed for lavish parties and festivities. And that's the one right here, and this is the building that we decided to tour. The tickets are available for both palaces. After Prince Eugene's death, in 1736, the palace was acquired by the Habsburgs. And this is the Marble Hall, the largest and the most significant room in the Upper Belvedere. Both buildings are quite large, that's why we decided to see only one, the more significant, the Upper Belvedere. It features an unparalleled collection of Austrian art, including works by Egon Schiele, Oskar Kokoschka, and major pieces from the Breathtaking period and Vienna secession. The Belvedere Palace is considered one of the finest Baroque palace complexes in the world. The main attraction is the world's largest collection of Gustav Klimt's paintings. And that is the most famous one, the Kiss. The palace has also big historic significance. It was the location of a major 20th century event, the signing of the Austrian State Treaty in 1955 after the Second World War. The treaty re-established Austria as a sovereign nation after the war, and the ceremony was held in the Upper Belvedere's Marble Hall that we saw before. And another landmark to see in Vienna is Kunsthistorisches Museum, so the Museum of Arts and History, and this glorious facade that the building has, you can see right behind me. And this is the main entry to the Kunsthistorisches Museum with a beautiful facade right here. And what is quite extraordinary is that it was not enough to build one, so they have two buildings like that, but I actually don't know what's going on because it was supposed to be the museum and then they have like a mirror copy of it, so we gotta just figure out what's going on. The building that we saw opposite Kunsthistorisches Museum was a Museum of Natural History, but let me tell you about this one. Kunsthistorisches Museum is one of the finest art museums in the world, built to house the colossal art collections of the Habsburg dynasty, particularly Emperor Franz Joseph I. This breathtaking marble staircase is a work of art on its own. You will see huge collections of paintings of the most famous painters in the world here. One of them is Rubens. At the exhibition at the museum, you can see tons of Rubens work from 16th, 17th century. He was a painter born in Germany, and there are so much of his work here. Rubens' masterpieces were created in the early 17th century, and one of the most renowned pieces is the Four Ildefonso altarpiece and the Miracle of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. You will also see a superb collection of paintings by Rembrandt, One of the most famous one will be Self-Portrait from 1652. Another famous painter featured here is Peter Bruegel the Elder, and you cannot miss his Tower of Babel, the Peasant Wedding, and the Hunters in the Snow. Albrecht Dürer's famous paintings here include Martyrdom of the 10,000 and Adoration of the Holy Trinity. Most famous painting by Diego Velázquez here is Infanta Margarita Teresa in a blue dress. Other famous painters that you can see here include Raphael, Caravaggio, Titan, and Giuseppe Arcimboldo. And now I'm heading to see a culinary highlight of the museum. I would dare to say that Kuppelhalle Cafe is one of the most beautiful cafes I have ever seen in my life. It is located underneath the museum's massive ornate dome, surrounded by marble, gold leaf, grand archways, and classical statues. It is a perfect place to take a break during your visit to the museum and feel like you are dining in the place of an emperor. Today we are visiting Sisi Museum that is located in Hofburg Palace, winter residence of Habsburg dynasty. Sisi was an extraordinary personality. She was never supposed to be an empress, but the emperor Franz Joseph fell in love with her instead of her sister when she was 16 years old. Sisi was very rebellious, but she had many talents. She was a writer, she was writing poetry, she was obsessed with her diet, and she suffered also from eating disorder. Her waist was 19 inches, 49 centimeters, and it was measured every day how much she how much was her weight, and how big was her waist. Her life was surrounded by many personal tragedies. So her son died in a suicide with his girlfriend, and also Sisi was stabbed to death by an anarchist. What's an extraordinary fact about the museum is that we are going to see her clothes in which she was stabbed, and there is an even stain of blood on her dress, and these are original clothes. We also gonna see a lot of replicas of her extraordinary beauty products. She didn't spend much time in Vienna. She was traveling around Europe, and she had an extensive suitcases with her clothes and beauty products, and she had even a folded bathtub. So it's a very exceptional museum and exceptional personality that we are going to see soon. The entrance to the museum is located in the Hofburg Palace. The real name of Sisi was Elisabeth, and the museum is quite extraordinary because it shows her true self. It presents a complex, often unhappy woman, highly intelligent, athletic, obsessed with her beauty and yearning for freedom, trapped in the strict protocols of the Habsburg court. And this is one of her portraits and replicas of her dresses. Sisi was famed for her ankle-length hair, which took hours to style. The museum displays replicas of her beauty products, jewelry, and notes on her intense beauty regimes, including herbal masks and nightly treatments with her raw veal. To maintain her famous small waist, she engaged in brutal exercise. The museum highlights her dedicated gym and her fanatical hiking and riding equipment. This displays also tactfully address her likely struggle with anorexia, showing her weight diaries and the tiny portions she ate. The museum confronts the visitor with the brutal end of her story. It displays her original mortuary mask made after her assassination, as well as the actual cloaked and mourning jewelry she was dressed in when she was killed by the anarchist Luigi Lucchini in Geneva in 1898. Sisi was a prolific and melancholic poet, writing in a secret code. The museum shows copies of her work, offering a glimpse into her inner world of sorrow and existential angst. She was a perpetual traveler, fleeing from Vienna and her duties often. The museum displays her traveling medicine chest, leather-bound toiletries, and coping kit, illustrating her life on the move. And that is her beauty room, where she spent hours preparing herself when in Vienna. The museum is must-see when you visit the city. The biggest shock that I experienced in Austria is the quality, and that's the quality of everything, starting from furniture, buildings, obviously architecture, clothing, but especially food. Surprisingly enough, I've eaten here the best food in my life, and I'm not even exaggerating. And it includes desserts, breakfast, lunch, beverages, whatever there is. It's just absolutely spectacular quality, and it's quite surprising because Austria is not known in the world for its cuisine, nor food, the quality of food. But I've been to Italy, I've been to France, culinary capitals of the world, and what can I tell you? This place really beats it all. I don't know why, don't ask me, but it was just the best. Everything I've tried. So that was quite a nice surprise for me in Austria. And here I am on the way to experience something Vienna is really famous for. Beethoven, Strauss, and Mozart worked and lived here, so obviously one of the staple things to do in Vienna is to see a classical music concert. All the iconic opera houses sell out their tickets well in advance, weeks, sometimes months in advance. We did get some tickets for a classical music concert. It's not gonna be a top notch, but I still hope it's gonna be a nice place to be and to hear some classical music. And the concert is starting soon. See how many people are there.
For the guests around you. Thank pretending it. Please just sit back, relax, and enjoy our Viennese music.
I was pleasantly surprised because the concert was extraordinary, although it was not by the top-notch Viennese orchestra. As I mentioned before, everything in Vienna is top quality, so here I am in a home goods store and just have a look of the quality of the things they displayed here. The historic center of Vienna is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I hope that my vlog showed in a great detail why. Thank you for watching.